really starting to demonstrate now, what Hasties main zone really could stack up to be. We've got some really good intersections. I think previously recorded, 94 metres at 0.64 grams per tonne, 0.58% copper. Now, importantly, that's a very long, wide intersection.
Well, hello, welcome to Assay TV. Today, I'm joined once again by Gary Harvey, who is the Managing Director of Rincon Resources. Rincon Resources are a West Australia-focused gold and base metals explorer focused on 3 projects in WA. Gary, great to see you once again. We spoke back in, I think, July of this year, when you were just getting started on your maiden drilling campaign at your project in the South Telfer region, the Hasties Project. You've recently had some results back from that. First of all, tell us a little bit about the scope of the drilling campaign, quick recap for our viewers, and then we'll get into the details of what you found so far.
Yeah, thanks, Leo, and look, good to see you again. So, yeah, with our South Telfer Copper Gold Project in the Paterson province, we had 5,000 metres RC drilling, our maiden RC drill program, following up on historic Newcrest mining drill results that were drilled in the mid-90s. And Newcrest in the past had identified 2 zones of mineralisation at Hasties, the Hasties main zone and the Hasties southeast zone, stretching across a 1 kilometre strike. So the aim of our program was to get in and follow up on the Newcrest drilling, to validate, verify that previous drilling, to in an attempt to duplicate that data in a sense. And look, that's all really important because, with the amount of information that was already there at Hasties, you could start doing an immediate resource estimation, but to do that, you've got to stick to certain guidelines under the Australian JORC reporting code, and that requires that you've got a level of QA/QC around that data. And because the Newcrest drilling was quite old, a lot of that QA/QC data was missing. We don't have that, so we can't really use that data in a resource estimation. So what we aim to do with that primary first program was to replicate a lot of the Newcrest data, but importantly, start to get an understanding of what the deposit, the nature of the resource is, collect some material for metallurgical test work, start to get the foundation and all that, that important information that sets the foundation for a resource estimation. So, the program's completed and we're starting to see the results come in, and we're very, very pleased with the outcome of the drilling program so far.
So what sort of results are you finding in terms of sort of, grades and widths in your interceptions?
Yeah, look, we released an announcement a few weeks ago for Hasties Southeast. Now, were modest results, but Hasties Southeast is a smaller zone of mineralisation, so to speak, compared to the Hasties main zone. The announcement we released on the 5th of October. The results are much better and really starting to demonstrate now, what Hasties, the main zone, really could stack up to be. We've got some really good intersections. I think we previously recorded, 94 metres at 0.64 grams per tonne, 0.58% copper. Now, importantly, that's a very long, wide intersection with modest grade. But within that, you do have high-grade zones, including 8 metres at 1.58 grams per tonne, 5 metres at 1.6, 4 metres at 5.31% copper, 8 metres at 2.64% copper. Now, that's just one particular hole. There's multiple holes with significant widths, between 30 and 40 and 50 metres, all with good levels of gold and copper, all displaying or including high-grade zones to really start to bring that average grade of the mineralisation up. So we're hoping to continue on that.
And importantly, it's not very deep down, is it? You're finding stuff from almost from surface.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, the Hasties main zone mineralisation actually pokes its head out at the surface. It exists, it's expressed at the surface as a gossam, a copper gold gossam, and then basically we've defined it down to well over 100 metres depth and remains open.
And so you've so far had 5 holes from the southeast zone, and then 10 holes back. The assays back from the main zone. How many more? So how many more holes have you got to be reported on?
Yeah, we've got 12 more holes. We expect those results to be released in the next 1 to 2 weeks.
And in terms of how this new data stacks up compared with the old data that you're trying to replicate, is it sort of meeting your expectations, or is it are there any differences you're noticing?
No, look, there are some slight differences in grade, and you expect that when you're trying to compare a modern day RC hole against an historic diamond hole. You will get differences in grade. That's simply due to the nature and the type of recovery of your material from diamond to RC. But in terms of the widths of the intersections and the lengths of those intersections, they're very comparable. The average grade is what I expected. We're looking at average grades between 1.5 and 2 grams per tonne, and gold and copper, around that half a percent copper on average. It's really comparable, not only to the existing data that Newcrest reported, but if you take those sort of average grades, you can compare that very nicely with other resources in the region, with the likes of Antipa Minerals and Newcrest Gold. If you have a look at their resource announcements or resource reports on their websites, the average grades are very similar to what we've got. So we're comfortable with setting on something that fits in with the average for the region. We'd like to find some high grade. That'd be lovely. Now, all we need to do is start to add some mass and some size and really get the scale of this thing up. And, what I mean by that is tonnes. And of course, the more tonnes you get, the more ounces you're going to find, or the more tonnes of copper. So that's our next step.
Absolutely. So, talking about step 2, phase 2, what are your plans? When are you going to start the next phase of drilling?
Yeah, so we're just completing our heritage surveys at Hasties. That actually starts on Wednesday, That'll be completed within the week. Following the completion of that program, it's a matter of just simply waiting for the heritage report, which gives us the clearance to then go start drilling. As soon as we have that clearance, we'll be on the ground drilling our phase 2 RC and diamond drilling program. That's another 5,000 metres that we're putting into Hasties. And it also, on the back of that heritage clearance program, that actually gives some clearance now to start testing some of our VTEM targets that we've previously identified on some of our other tenements to the southeast as well.
Absolutely. And you've previously done some geophysical surveys which have helped you identify some extra targets as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. So look at the Hasties area, we did gradient array IP, and that helped us identify a really good deep target underneath Hasties, 300 metres deep, and we'll be testing that with our phase 2 drilling. Our other geophysical programs we completed were the versatile time domain electromagnetic surveys. It's an airborne EM survey. Now, we did that on our southeastern tenements because they're much larger areas, and we identified over 20 VTEM targets. Several of those were priority drill 1 targets, and as I said, with our heritage survey just about to be completed, some of those targets will be cleared for drilling, and we'll look to start testing those targets within the next 6 months, and then we'll have the rest of those targets cleared at a later date to help us start our programming, drill test those targets later on next year.
Fantastic. And in terms of paying for all this, how's the funding looking?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So we're still well funded, and we're funded all the way through to probably the middle of next year. And so we're going to be busy, and so we're fully funded. We're going to be busy. Cash is in the tin, and we're pretty excited. We're going to be aggressively exploring these targets.
Absolutely. You've got some other projects though out there. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing at your other project, Kiwikura.
Yeah, look, Kiwikura is one of my little favourites, and I particularly like it because it's an IOCD style deposits that we're testing for out there, and we've recently completed our geophysical interpretation, our full-on project review, which was done by our independent consultants. They identified several targets for us, of which two were high priority targets, and we plan on testing those from the second quarter next year. Now, that'll include both RC and diamond. And so at the moment, to allow us to do that, we're in the process of negotiating our heritage agreement. And once that's completed and we've got our permitting process underway and approved, then we can get on the ground. So we're actually pretty excited about that. I'm actually flying up to Kiwikura in a couple of weeks to negotiate that agreement. So that'll be quite exciting. But really looking forward to getting the rig out there and starting to drill those IOCG targets at our Hasties Prospect.
Absolutely. So busy couple of weeks ahead. You've got some assay results coming out soon, and then you'll be off to Kiwikura to negotiate your heritage still deals up there. So thank you very much, Gary, for that update on the company. We look forward to hearing more as your projects evolve.
Great. Thanks, Leo. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.